Hello, Internet. My name is Ryan Ingram, and today we're going to talk about how I just made $35,000 right off the MLS. Now, the majority of our deals are done off market, which means like a wholesaler brings them to us, another investor, word of mouth with like contractors or other people we've previously purchased properties from, even some clients from the insurance agency I've purchased properties from. So there are usually, when we do buy properties, it is from, an off-market deal. However, this was right on the MLS. Now, I've got several MLS alerts set up with different realtors throughout the town. I also have, all of the apps that everyone has, the Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor, and I have alerts set up inside of those as well because for whatever reason, there's a discrepancy between which one the property appears on first. So I like to, have very specific areas in all of the apps. And hopefully one of them will tell me if a good deal comes across. Because in this case, this is an area that I'm intimately familiar with. This is one of my favorite areas to invest in. I actually just purchased this property, which you could throw a stone from the front porch of this house and hit the one that we closed on today. So I'm very familiar with that area. I know about the after repair values, the trends of the market. That's one area that I really try to keep a pulse on at all times. So I got an alert from the Trulia app stating that this property just hit the market, and it really caught me off guard because the listing price was $55,000. So I scrolled through the pictures and realized that it was owner occupied, and this person took immaculate care of the house. It was in perfect condition. It said that the tornado hit the house, and so they just put on a new roof, which we've recently spent about as high as $12,000 on a new roof, just because of the number of layers and then the wood that needed to be replaced underneath. So since it already had a new roof, that was a huge bonus. Plus, the bathroom had recently been remodeled, the kitchen looked great, and there really wasn't any deferred maintenance on this property at all. So the listing price of $55,000 really caught me off guard. And if everything that I knew about this property was true, then this one was very, very underlisted. So I immediately reached out to the listing agent. I put in a cash offer with a 2-week close of $50,000 and scheduled a time to go walk through the property. And to my amazement, the property was in just as good condition as the pictures showed. The realtor told me that the owner had just recently repainted the entire house just to get it ready for showing. And, there was nothing out of place. There was nothing damaged. There wasn't anything that wasn't working. The electric panel had recently been updated. All of the wiring was Romex. It had been owner occupied for around 20 years. So I was really impressed with the quality of this house. And all of this to say, it really pays off to be intimately familiar with a particular area inside of your market so that when you do come across a listing that just hits the market and the pricing isn't right, you can immediately start checking it for either a crazy amount of deferred maintenance. And if there's no deferred maintenance, then you could just assume that the stars have aligned and this property was listed despite the comps showing a much higher value. And that is the case for this one. So the purchase price was $50,000. No repairs are needed. As I said, it's immaculate, and I'll show you guys a walk through the house later. And I've got the ARV at 85. Now, if you look at this one, I have it at 95,000, and the reason for that is there is a second bathroom, and the basement is finished, or finished enough that it's a usable, comfortable area. So you'll also see a discrepancy between the rental values as well. We're going to rent this one out for $900, and this one has been rented out for $950. Because of the large amount of equity that we walked into in this property, the $35,000, I was really happy. I was comfortable and knew that it was a really good deal. So I reached out to a private lender, a good friend of ours that we have done a few deals with in the past, and asked for $50,000. That way I was out of pocket $0. And, much to my surprise, he, did his analysis of the property and said, this is a really good deal. We can give you $60,000 if you're interested in that. So we borrowed $60,000 at 10%. And like the other deals that we've done, this is interest only. So the 10% of $60,000 is $6,000. So divided by 12, that's going to be $500 per month. So far, I mentioned that we're going to rent this property out for $900, and the interest only payment on the mortgage is going to be $500. Now, we do have a 2-year interest only period, and after that, it converts to an amortized period. Let's go over the other monthly expenses so that we can figure out how much this property cash flows on a monthly basis. So, all the expenses, we said that the monthly expense for the mortgage is $500. That's $60,000 at 10%. The insurance comes out to $503 per year, or $42 a month. The taxes in this area are pretty high, as I mentioned in the other video as well. Now, this one isn't as high as the other. However, it is still a little bit over $1,200 and comes out to $111 per month. And lastly, the property management fee, that's 8% of $900, or $72 per month. Now, all of this, once you add it up, our monthly expenses are $725. Now, as I mentioned, the rental income is $900. So the total cash flow is $175 per month, and that is at a pretty high interest rate. So when the time comes and we refinance with a traditional bank at 4 to 5 to 6 to 7%, then we're going to have an immediate amount of savings, especially once you include that 20 to 30-year amortization schedule. Now, I often get pushback about the way that I analyze properties. I do not include the capital expenditures, the repairs, maintenance, or the vacancies, and by and large, it's because it's not real numbers. The numbers are still contributing to the cash flow. Sure, we do budget for them, but it's on a fixed amount across our entire portfolio, not a percentage of each property. I think if you are just starting out and you have 1 to 5 or 10 properties, then you might want to look at budgeting by a percentage. But if you have so few properties, then I imagine you will be putting a lot of your personal income into your real estate investing to float the business whenever a capital expenditure or repairs maintenance expense arises. Because if you are putting 10% of this into a capital expenditure fund, there is no guarantee that that money is going to accumulate to a sufficient amount before something goes wrong with your property. Make sense? Well, it does for me, so thanks. Now, since I've spent so much time talking about how awesome this property is, let's go and check it out. And last time I just let a video play with no audio. People got a little bit frustrated and asked that I put some music behind it. So here is a video walkthrough of the property with nice, gentle music in the background. Thanks so much for watching, and fortunately my property managers are such rock stars that they were able to rent this out even off market. So we already have a tenant in place at $900 per month, and I'm pretty happy about it. I think it's a solid deal overall, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe or like the video if this was helpful. Again, the only reason that I'm recording all of these videos is to give you just an inside look at how I analyze properties. So whenever you start to build your own real estate portfolio, then you're able to just kind of have these in the back of your head as a reference when you are analyzing your own properties or out there looking for good properties to buy. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, want any clarification, please let me know. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.